Bandwidth. We can't get enough of it. And increasingly, we can't imagine a world without it. It's becoming a utility, like water or power. Our computers require it. So do our televisions, our phones, appliances, businesses, agencies, institutions and governments depend on bandwidth to survive. In fact, it's hard to think of a business or institution today that is not online and doesn't depend on bandwidth. According to Cisco Systems, global internet traffic has increased fivefold over the past 5 years and will pass the 1 zettabyte threshold in 2016. That's almost 1 billion gigabytes. And by 2020, there will be 75 billion connected devices on the planet. But what if our bandwidth suddenly just disappeared? Or was completely consumed by someone else, leaving us none? Like the farmer whose water is siphoned off upstream. We'd struggle to sustain our businesses and our modern connected lives as we know them. Today, there is a new weapon that can do just that. It's called a denial of service attack, and it's a growing threat.
Denial of service attacks affect everyone. Whether you're a part of an ops team and you suffer from outages affecting you directly, or you're a home user and your browser is timing out or your gaming console isn't connecting, chances are you have already been a victim.
Denial of service attacks are the new scourge of the internet. They're a powerful and dangerous tool of online criminals.
But what are denial of service attacks? And who exactly is behind them? Join us as we answer those questions, take you inside an attack, and show you what it looks like from the perspective of those security teams that are trying to stop them. We'll also give you practical advice on how your company or organization can make sure you are not the next victim.
Wars used to be fought over commodities like territory, minerals, food, water, and today that commodity is bandwidth. DDoS attacks aim to take that commodity away. DDoS attacks used to be used by nation states and armies, but today they can be used by just one individual. The idea is nefariously simple. Send so much traffic to a web server on network that it can't sustain the load. The server will slow down and eventually become unreachable. This flood of traffic can come from all over the internet, typically from third-party computers that have been hacked or compromised by cyber criminals. This is why it's called a distributed denial of service attack or DDoS attack. With so many connected computers around the world, criminals, activists and the disgruntled are literally using stolen bandwidth as a weapon against the sites they wish to take down. This is an unintended but perverse consequence of the connected world we live in today.
But why? What are the motives of these cyber criminals? Typically, it's as simple as money. Criminals understand how important bandwidth is to business and how being knocked offline can result in lost sales, angry customers, and damaged brands.
DDoS attacks are often used to extort ransom from organizations who simply cannot afford downtime. So hackers will often ask for small ransom amounts such that the company is likely to pay up, but then this forms a positive feedback loop, whereas the more you pay ransom, the more it emboldens the attacker, and oftentimes this ransom is paid in the form of Bitcoin so that the attackers are totally anonymous, and this encourages them to launch even bigger and stronger DDoS attacks, and it's a one-way downward spiral that the company ends up being the loser at.
Often, a cyber criminal will execute bandwidth arbitrage, where they temporarily rent a network of compromised computers from another criminal. They then send threats to several businesses at once. This threat could go out to as many as 10 or 20 different companies at a time. Renting such a botnet may cost them as little as $500 a day. If one victim pays, then they break even. If more than one pay, the arbitrage turns positive and the extortionist makes several times their initial investment.
In the online criminal ecosystem, first you have the hackers. These are folks who break into machines and compromise them. Then you have botnet herders, who will take these compromised machines, aggregate them into pools or botnets, and then make them available on the market. And then finally, you have the kit makers who allow you to control these compromised botnets using software that they've sold and allows you to do all kinds of nefarious activities with relative ease.
Often the perpetrators of these DDoS attacks are not actually in it for the money. They do it to gain publicity. These so-called hacktivists attack websites to try to draw attention to a cause they're trying to promote, or portray an organization or a government entity in a negative way.
On the morning of Christmas 2014, over 160 million gamers were unable to log in and play their brand new platforms that they just opened up. This was due to a massive, long-term DDoS attack that was impacting both Xbox and PlayStation. All types of organizations can fall victim to hacktivists such as Anonymous or Lizard Squad. From banks and hospitals to universities or entire governments, anyone with an online presence that offends one of these groups might find themselves on the receiving end of a DDoS attack.
Well, when it comes to DDoS and hackers, we have white hat and we've got black hat. And it depends on which side of the fence they sit on, whether they're trying to be more of the protective white side or more of the malicious, destructive black side. On the white side DDoS, these are the people that are looking for those vulnerabilities in the routers and the websites, in the firewalls, and they're looking at ways of closing them. On the black hat side, these are the people that are looking for ways to build larger, stronger bot networks to make those attacks escalate quicker.
Believe it or not, online gamers also launch DDoS attacks. As crazy as it may sound, these attackers attack the very online gaming platform that they use to play their games. Cheaters are looking for any edge they can gain. Launching a DDoS attack and slowing their opponents down can actually get them that edge.
Not all attacks are made public. We're witnessing an attack right now aimed at a financial company. And it's a pretty big one. It's over 200 gigabits per second and over 100 million packets per second. That's enough bandwidth to take down a data center. And it's aimed at a website only designed to support 100 concurrent users.
Even the largest and most sophisticated DDoS attacks can be detected and stopped. Network operation teams have internal and third-party tools in their arsenal. Cloud DDoS mitigation services are purposely built to offload the massive attack traffic from end users' networks and to provide the know-how and expertise to thwart these attacks.
With so many adversaries ready, willing, and able to initiate DDoS attacks, every online organization must be prepared for these powerful and readily assembled assaults. Without protection from DDoS attacks, they will multiply. Our connectivity will constantly be at risk, and criminals will seek to gain access to and compromise our bandwidth. And this will ultimately threaten our very livelihood.